But most important part is actually getting people to actually send you money. You know, and this is like the whole thing that a lot of guys in the info space don't double down on, because they're actually really bad at it. So they try to over-index with like content and carousel posts and stuff. Whereas like, if you actually just get this right, all the other stuff doesn't really matter. And like, if you can really nail this, and we are this case study. So my following is still small, but it was tiny. But we took every lead and we cared for every lead so delicately that our numbers per follower were just kind of wild. Because we got the call funnel correct, we got the right content correct, we understand how the metrics what to track, and then, you know, we were performing better than anyone else. So a bit of context, our show rate right now is still 75%, and our close rate is still above 35%, okay? That's booking 150 calls a month. Okay, so we have the data, the breadth, and then we also have the depth, and it all starts back to this. So there's only 4 stages, and to actually close someone sends you money, it goes all the way back up to this content. So this is the most important part, because if you have any background in sales, you hear the term like tie downs. So a tie down is like where someone will say something like they have the money, and then you like strap them to like the bed until they pay down here. So that falls into the call structure, but that actually doesn't happen. You can do a tie down effectively in your content 4 months previously. So what this means is, when I'm putting out content about helping business owners grow their business with content, we get a lot of objections on calls, like, does it work? Does it work for my niche? Is it for agencies? Is it for coaches? Whatever they may be. Every single objection that comes up in a sales call is a piece of content, okay? So take Imran's example. I don't think AI is going to be around forever, AI development. He creates videos on why AI development is the future of engineering, all the benefits, all the drawbacks, all that kind of stuff, because he heard about it in a sales call. Now, thankfully, due to AI, you can record your transcripts on Zoom or whatever you're doing, and you can just pass that back in and say, list all the objections, and please like outline the content pillars that I need that overcome my objections. These objections can be like quite tactical, or they can be the typical ones like, is this a scam? Because if that is one of your objections, which can be, like, is this real, is it going to work? We create origin story content. People buy the feeling, people don't buy the product. They buy the story all the time. So you need to nail that over and over again. So before we change our positioning slightly, I would have said at least twice a day, I started with a $60 microphone and a money back guarantee from Amazon. And I did that over and over again because I had to reiterate to people that I literally started quite literally from nothing. And that part of that story is what people bought. The mechanism is largely irrelevant, right? Whether it's options trading, whether it's NLP, it's like whatever that is to achieve dream outcome, that's irrelevant. It is important, and this is where we talked about the other day, that the fitness influencers really emphasize the story, but less about the mechanism. So of course it is important, but it isn't as important. Because really, with that objection handling content, what we're trying to do is solve one very specific problem, which is, what is the painful problem that we solve for a specific user that's easy to find online? So knowing Zara's problem deeper than like a lot of other people, your biggest issue is your people are very hard to find online. Someone who's going to spend $42,000, give up a month of their business and fly to Bali is like, I don't know anyone that would do that. Because it's so difficult to find it within the TAM. Whereas when we can strip it out, you can have that as an amazing offer, and that can be, it's a beautiful offer that helps people. But you don't only need to serve that, because the most important part there is the person that you find online, which, because you can't hit them with an ad, is a massive red flag. Which is where we just strip it out, we add the group component, we add a one-to-one component. It can still be high ticket. It doesn't need to be $12, it can be $10,000. But you give yourself time to find that painful problem, which is complex PTSD plus everything else, for a very specific user, which is a high performer, someone who may be overcoming whatever addiction. That's easy to find online. They're going to be on Meta, they're going to be on LinkedIn. So Instagram, LinkedIn. And we constantly hit that message, because we go from here about integrating this with results. So again, storytelling lights up a part of the brain that facts and figures never can. So if I say how to get to 100K a month, you're like, yeah, whatever. But if I say how Sophia did this with a VA, you're like, okay, let's hear about it. So we want to integrate all of this into our objection handling content, because what happens is your customers are shopping, right? When you go into any sort of like, high-end dealership, clothing store, or whatever, you come in window shopping initially, you leave, you go for a cup of coffee with your missus, and you're like, damn, I really want that watch. And then 2 months' time, you're trying to make money to get that watch, and you go back into a different dealership. That's what we're trying to do with our content. We need to evoke that gap. Part of gap selling is the current state, the future state, and every single time they open up Instagram, they're like, oh my fucking God, I'm still not there. And that is part of marketing. It's stretching the gap, stretching the gap, stretching the gap. Showcasing that it's not okay to not get leads. It's not okay to be stuck at 5K a month for 6 months. That's not okay. It's not okay to be 20 pounds overweight. It's not okay to be on your third marriage in 2 years, whatever that may be, because people's coping mechanisms and levels of awareness go way down, whereas your job with objection handling content is to bring that up. And then someone like Will makes it new, unique, novel, and different. Right? It's the same thing, but he's making it very, very unique, and that's why we need to showcase this, because when they then take the next step, it's an invitation. They have seen the content, they've seen what you do, they know that at least, at the very least, you can help them, and then they move into the qualification criteria. So they hit, to keep it simple, Calendly, okay, or your application form. In this application form, we're trying to hit the broadest amount of TAM here, so yours is the best example. You want to hit the broadest amount of TAM of people that struggle with insert problem. They take the next step, and this is when you can get granular and start kind of sniper selling. Because this is meant to be like if you imagine like an alligator's mouth, if the alligator's mouth is super, super tight, he'll only bring in mud water. If it's super, super open in the application process, he'll bring in flies and bees and all that kind of stuff. But if it's just tight enough, he'll be able to get the prey that he wants. So when you see like an empty calendar application form, people are saying coffee chats. That's total bullshit. Sorry, but it's total bullshit. Because anyone can book on. So the content that you hit is going to attract tire kickers, and then you're going to say, well, I'm just attracting tire kickers. There's something wrong with my offer. And then if it's too tight, you're not going to get enough applications, and people are going to quite literally say, like, F off, because they're going to see 50 questions. And I see that on type forms, because type forms aren't restricted. iClose and Calendly is restricted to 10 questions. Type forms aren't. So they're like 17 questions. Like, we're not applying for a mortgage. We're trying to, like, buy a program. So because of that, that also has a different deterrent. There is a sweet spot, and there's a sweet spot for BizOp and for personal development, and I thankfully know both of them. So the first thing is, what is the problem? It's part of self-admission in sales is that people have to admit they have a problem, okay? I know people that have struggled with alcohol and drug abuse all my entire life. The reason why they still struggle with it is because they'll never admit that they have a problem, right? Because they're not able to look at the problem for what it is. Now, in application form, they're not going to say that they struggle with X, Y, Z as much. However, personal development is a huge thing that people rip. Business is less so. They've seen that you call out the problem in the content. You've overcome that. They are starting to describe that journey. They're dipping their toe into the world of solving their problem, just ever so slightly. That's great. People have the same problems. For us, it's people have offers with lead generation, delivery, and client success. But then we need to understand where they currently are from a business perspective, where they are with their revenue. 0 to 2, 2 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 50, and so on. That's current state. Back to gap selling. Then we start going into the future goal. Where do they want to get to? There's lots of people that actually book calls with us and they're like, things are fine. And I'm like, but you're making 15K a month. You could be making 100. And they're like, I'm chilling. I'm like, all right, because I can't sell to someone like that who doesn't have some sort of internal pain that we can resolve. Okay? And respectfully, if you're making 10K a month and you're super happy, that's great. But like, quite literally, you're not going to be a good client anyway, so there's probably no reason for us to do it. So having that future revenue gap, so current state, future state, these are numeric, right? And this is where we can get really nerdy with lead scoring, which is going to be way down here. And then this is the most important, because for personal development, you will not have these. You'll never have current state and future state for personal development. But what you will have is this. Working with Tom carries a financial investment. What best describes, before that, what best describes your current financial situation, total savings, and willingness to invest. How much are you willing to invest, plus investment at hand. So that can be your sliding scale. The reason why you don't ask how much money does someone want to invest, or how much money are they making for personal development, is because they could have just inherited something. This actually has happened. People are starting from zero, they want to invest in something, they have inheritance, they're not making money, but they're willing to invest. Of course, this comes with a smoke screen, so there's a bit of a delta here. But if someone is willing to invest 5 to 10K, they actually probably spend 15K or 20K with enough pain. Go ahead.
Just a quick one. With personal development, will you still not ask them what are your goals? Like, what are they going to get to?
What are your goals? But their goals may not be financial, right? So like if it's a trauma healing program, they're just trying to look to overcome that. But the biggest thing, and this is really important for here, is like so for them it's like what are you capable of investing, what's possible investing, or a different way to ask that question is how much have you previously invested in your personal development? And the reason why you would ask that is because you just want to gauge how deep they're into personal development, because people go deep into personal development, right? But the thing is that you would still take calls. This is why you want to get off calls, Liz, is because if someone says 0 in personal development, you still take the call. Yeah. Because they're ready to change, because something up here, in here, has been like, oh my fucking God, I need to fix something fast. And then they get to here, and even if they're new to it, they're willing to invest. But if they've invested 20K plus, you know they're going to invest 20K plus again. So that's a slider scale to test commitment. Okay? It's a sliding scale for commitment.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the why you don't do current state, future state.
For revenue, if it's yours is attached to it can be attached to a business outcome. But if it's someone like, let's say Zara, and they're like literally, do you know what I mean? Because this is attached to revenue, right? So anyone that's selling anything to do like any make money offer. Yeah. But then the catch-all is down here, which is
Is it like kind of a current state, future state through? Like, you know, I'm fat.
That's the problem. Yeah. But for business offers, we're looking at revenue. We're looking at revenue here. Okay. So current revenue, future revenue target. You can say where do you want to get to? Yeah, you can. But again, back to the alligator mouth. The more that we add friction, the conversion is going to be lower. Especially when you start paying for your leads, which by the way everyone's going to have to do eventually, unless your brand keeps skyrocketing. Then we get to here, which is actually the most important part. So they're halfway in. They're documented. If you're using something like iClose, you're going to be able to catch some of this stuff as they come in. But the financial situation is working with Andrew carries a financial investment. The wording here is super important. Working with Andrew carries a financial investment of 4 figures at least. What best describes your financial situation? I have the financial resources to invest. I can get the financial resources to invest. Or I do not have the financial resources to invest. Okay?
Can you say that again, please?
I have the financial resources to invest. I can get the financial resources to invest. Or I do not have the financial resources to invest. And the reason why we ask that is when we start getting the downstream tie-on. Decision maker. The downstream tie-downs. And I'm going to explain why this matters in a second. Because they're going to say, I have the resources, I can get the resources. If they say, I do not have the financial resources, but there's a DM thread of them saying, oh my God, like this, I need to change, I need to change, I need to change. We simply go back and say, hey, check out your application form. It says you're not willing to invest. Obviously, this carries an investment. Just want to double check before you get going. If they say yes, if they say that was just a mistake, we'll get to that because they're already committed. Okay? If they say I do not have a mistake, you cancel the call, you send them a free training. And you create a goodie bag of like videos, and you create that goodie bag situation of videos. Because at that point, they've made that commitment to say like, okay, I'm actually going to get moving.
Darren, sorry, but you said you cancel the call. So just to be clear, have you booked a call before you start the questionnaire, and then you?
No. This is the questionnaire to book a call.
Okay. This
is the funnel to book a call. So to book on the calendar, this is the flow.
How do you qualify them if you meet them face to face?
Well, if you get them on a call, if they're going through a call, you know.
Yeah, but like would you again send them through the form?
Yeah, just be like, here, please book in. Please book in with this. Like, it's just a super simple way, just so that we can just track the calls. It's basically it. Just to organize my calendar, which is true. To organize my calendar and to make sure everything's streamlined, can you just book in here for tomorrow? And then they fill this in, and then it's like, okay, that was valuable. That also isn't valuable, right?
Darren, what does DQ stand for?
Disqualification. Yeah. Because we're trying to hit the broad enough TAM.
So this is all the form?
Yeah, this is the call funnel.
Yeah.
We're trying to hit the biggest TAM to self-select people, and this is going to be important for us. It's all going to make sense. And then basically the decision-making person as well, which is like, we want to work directly with the decision maker. Are you the key decision maker to make a decision on the call? 1, I am the decision maker. No. 2, no, but I'll invite the decision maker. Or 3, no, and then a bracket says, call will be auto-cancelled if you're not the decision maker. And this is actually important for you because like I think there's a bit of a kind of smoke screen with B2B because like you guys love to make cycles longer than they need to be. If you just message someone being like, can you bring the decision maker? They might just invite them. They might just do it. They might just be like, oh, because this is a problem, this is a pain, it's a bleeding neck problem. Fuck it, I'll just invite them. If that means we can solve the issue further. Yeah. Like, this was when we ran a very large sales program for a client. And this was the big issue I had was like, they were like, oh, it's 90 days, 180 days. And I was like, if you just speed the fucking thing up, it will just move faster. You know, if you add more velocity through it with some kind of like delicate balancing, you can get people to do things all the time. Right? You know, if there's...
Are you the decision maker? If not, invite them.
Invite them. And then if they say no or whatever, you just go back, reset, go back, reset. And then we have the why now, which is kind of like it's like an ammunition question, which is like, why now? And like, you'll get some hilarious answers here, but it's sort of like, what is the reason to change? Because like, obviously changing involves change, which involves work, which involves difficulty. Whereas if you're not willing to change, they'll describe what the problem is, okay? And the reason why we do this is because when they come in, they will have that application form. But part of the ecosystem is that you might have a program for beginners, you might have a program for one-to-ones, you might have a done-for-you version. So when they come in, based on the application process, you can see where they fit. You're like, all right, this person from the application form is definitely a good fit for the incubator. And then if they're on the call and they're like, I just don't like group, it's like, okay, well, you can pay for the one-to-one if you want to. So you will get feedback from the market based on what they want. But holistically, that's how we run one funnel on the front end. And on the back end, then we can see which is a better service for them, better offer for them. And you have multiple offers, right? So
Yeah, it's like...
So they will describe like, oh my God, I have an issue with liquidity or some shit. And then you'll basically be like, okay, well, that makes sense. And then if they're a small hedge fund, they're like a small hedge fund. You're like, okay, well, if they're a small hedge fund, I'm not going to get 80K straight out of them. I might get a split or whatever. And then you know you're going in and optimizing, because the 15 minutes you spend before a call looking at this stuff will actually dramatically improve the outcome of the call.
Yeah, you change the script and stuff.
Yeah, just you have a really good gauge as to where they are, because if you DQ them here, it actually protects the brand. And it's just, here's a goodie bag of like 3 or 4 different videos. Please come back to me in 90 days when like your business is at a great state. You respect their time, they respect your time. You build like a sales organization. Because I have to preface this as well. Like, you know, when you're heavy on sales, any marketing you do checks out perfectly. Like the numbers like ding, 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 right? When you're super indexed on marketing and you don't have this in the back end, it's a shit show in the back end. You know? And it's just all over the place. And it's like, oh yeah. And then that's like where a lot of the info cowboys, like they'll just really hammer on the front end, and the slippage is so big. Whereas there's not a lead left unturned in our business, man. Like, you know, there's like, we know their birthdays, man, when it gets into this point, right? Every single thing is tracked. So whether there's 4 people or 400 people, it doesn't fucking matter.
So your calendar thingy, so on the questionnaire, so the pre-qualification thing, what say they get down to, say, out of 10 steps or 10 questions or something like that, and at number 5 it's like, oh, fuck.
Yep.
Does Calendly record that?
iClose records it. We get a ding in Slack. Setter goes into Slack. Hey, so I tried to book. We didn't book in fully. Do you want to just finish your application? We're ready to go.
Okay. And does Calendly do that? I mean,
Calendly doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. But that was the USP of iClose, basically, you know? So they book, and then they're like, holy fucking shit, this is like, you know, we're in. They hit the thank you video, but because all like Gmail is all messed up and the HTTP server and all this kind of stuff is an issue, we thought about this on Friday, but again, because it's so important, you have to get them to confirm. So from your own account, it actually is best from your own account being like, hey Tom, thanks so much for booking. Can you just hit that confirm button in your email? It just shows that it doesn't hit your spam, and then we know what it is. Because 90% of people that hit confirm show up on our calendar. If they don't hit confirm, 30% show up. Think about that. So let's say we book 10 calls, 8 of them will hit confirm. That means 7 of them will actually roughly show up, which is a 70% show rate.
And that's on the calendar invite.
That's on the calendar because it's going to hit their email, and because like they're adults, they have to use their laptop to log into stuff. You know what I mean? You know, like this is where, so even in our emails, which is down here, it says like, if you log in from your phone or a coffee shop, we will immediately cancel the call. Like, you're an adult. Like, it's not your phone. Like, get off the phone. So we need to set that like bar really, really high.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really high. You know, like really.
Don't confirm, you just cancel the call.
We might not even show up. And then if someone messages me like, bro, we booked a call, it's like, great. Now you're ready to go. Awesome. There's lots of psychology in that too. It's like not showing up to the call that they booked. It's like you didn't hit confirm. And the reason why is because we asked you to confirm. There's a thank you video that's 4 minutes long where we indoctrinate you in our services, our results, what we're going to give. We're going to give you an offer, hit confirm, we'll do all this stuff. This is all still in the same chat, by the way. You can use a setter for this too, like a different channel, but you don't need to. And then the VSL free training. So again, these 2 things up here, show rate, and then this down here, close rate. And you can swap this out and rotate this, right? Because when we do get into the actual call structure then, like think about it in comparison to just a random Calendly thing. And then you've asked them for a coffee chat. This just completely changes the game. They've watched it, they know that you can help them. They've come through this, they're like, Jesus Christ, I know what's going on. And then they come into here and they're ready to go. And then they've watched all this stuff and they're like, let's go. Like it's like a different energy, you know? And if you are running an email sequence, this is where we have the FAQ in, just random objections that come up from your transcripts. I'd add those back in here. I'd have one case study, and we do a triage call. So our triage call is still under 1 to 2 minutes. We ring them. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much for ringing me. Great, fantastic. Can you just hit that big confirm video? We're also going to send you a thank you video, and then we're going to watch your free training as well. And you have to use you language. Because this is a priority for you, we want to make sure this is valuable to you so that you're best prepared, so that you can make the best decision. We want you to do this. I want you to do this, but I'm not going to say what I want. I'm going to tell you what you want, which is effectively is what I also want, by the way. So it's just positioning. It's just psychology, it's positioning. And once we know we can optimize for this, they're just ready. They're ready to go. And even when you went through one of our sales programs the other day as well, it was like, the funnels are they're all, anyone that's doing like really big numbers is running like this structure. You know, it's very, very, very dialed in. And arguably, I think ours is probably as good as it. Because then we get to the actual call. And in our content, we've done gap selling already. Current state, future state, the results and so on. But then it's about you. And this is when it becomes real for the prospect. It's like, Jesus Christ, I've watched this guy for a good couple of years, or I've seen the content, I've heard some good things, and now they're actually helping me. And this is where like the language is very important, which is like, hey, this call is like literally for you, which is true. This is about to see if this is a good fit for you. We will give you an offer, so tell me like, what's the one bleeding neck problem that you have right now that we can solve? And then they're gonna really go through, we're gonna really detail that current state. And like the B2B guys like really got this good. It was like the real granular details. Like I was like, okay, you say you have an issue with getting leads. Okay, but how much leads are you getting? A few. Okay, but how much a few? I'm getting 4. Okay, how has 4? 4 in a week, okay. And of those 4, what's happening then? We're getting really detailed in the current state. And then we're looking at like the pain. It's like, okay, what is the impact of 4 leads a week? I know money. That fucking sucks. What's the impact of that? So that's professional impact. The personal impact is, well, now I can't do anything. My actual wife lives overseas and I haven't been able to see her for 4 months. That fucking sucks. So deeper, deeper, deeper. Where is that? Where is that issue? Like hold on to that thought. Because yes, you might have a 7-step mechanism, but that doesn't give a shit if that person can't get on a flight to see their wife. That doesn't matter. It's just that one issue that we need to really, really, really double down on. Yeah, we'll help you with other stuff too, whatever. But if we solve this thing, and the mental model is, what's the one problem that if solved will fix everything else? Because under the theory of constraints, there actually is one constraint that will actually block every other constraint. So it's literally like a pipe. If there's one blockage in the pipe, it doesn't matter if the rest of the pipe is fucked anyway. It's just, if we got to solve that one specific one, and if we just do that, I actually said this to you, Imran. I was like, if I just teach you how to run a sales call, my job is done. And that's why you're like, oh, we need new content. I'm like, whatever. Because if I just teach you how to run the call funnel, you'll actually be fine. You know? And yes, as time goes on, you have to kind of do the other stuff. But we really, really sit in this as deep as possible. So like the calls are 1 hour, always. Cause pain and doubt, see where their issue is, find the root cause of it. Okay? So if it's a personal development offer and you go off the rails and you go to casinos and spend all your money and drink and drugs and all that kind of stuff, there's obviously a root cause of that. We don't want to talk about the symptom, we want to talk about the root cause. And we want to get there like very, very quickly in the call. It's like, okay, this goes all the way back to like, you know, inner child, like self-destruction, all this kind of stuff. And you're really good at this, but it's like we need to really hammer that point. Because then at that point, we slow the fuck down, right? So no one has any idea what the offer is. All the way back up here. Like they might know holistically, but there's nothing on the call. It's you language, you language, you language. And we stop, we slow it down. Like, okay, 100%, there's definitely a problem here. However, on your call application, it said that you have like you're making like 5K, 10K a month. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. And it says, it looks as well that you're willing to invest if this makes sense to you. Is that correct? Yes. That's pre-handling objections. So we slow down because their brain is rattled now. They're like, oh my fucking God, I have this massive problem. I know it's becoming more apparent. And this guy's asking me about like my finances. You want to pre-handle that here, because then we also want to look at the decision maker up here too, as well, effectively, which is there anyone else involved? It said, again, back here, there wasn't. Just confirming that's correct. And if they say why defensive, it's like, well, respectfully, I want to protect your time. If we know we have to speak to Mary and Joe down the road, we'll pause it right here and reconnect tomorrow. So if they have someone else involved, you stop the call and you reschedule. It's the whole thing. You stop the call and reschedule. If Tiernan's running calls, I'll often just check WhatsApp to see 15 minutes in, has he stopped the call? And more often than not, if someone isn't qualified, he stopped the call. I don't want people on calls if they're not ready to be there. So we pre-handle all this shit up here, because then we can basically effectively not have to overcome it down here. And
Say that sentence again.
so we can so if you ever want to ask a direct question, just say the word respectfully before it.
Yeah, and then what was the rest of that sentence? They're asking why.
So if you're like, why are you asking me this? It's like, respectfully, I want to protect your time and I don't want to waste your time. And if we have to go through 14 different like review processes with your dog and your mom and all that kind of stuff, we could just get the dog and the mom on a call tomorrow and stop this here and protect your time. Well, that makes sense. And then they'll say, there's no one else involved, self-admission, right? They've got to the point where they've accepted that they can't move forward. Because then at this point, then we're getting into the future state, which is like, okay, what does all this mean? Where do you actually want to get to? And then they'll break it into two different categories, which is professional, especially for you guys, for your offer, which is like, oh, we want to increase the dividend yield of like 8%. Great. But, like, that's great, but what does this mean for you? And it's like, I want to be out of this fucking thing in 5 years. Okay, so you want to be out, retired, you want to move to Phuket in 5 years' time. You got to fix this fucking issue with your P&L. Because if you don't fix this issue right up here, then none of that stuff matters. So the story we have, and like, he won't mind me telling, we have a huge client for many, many years. And we run 3 of his podcasts, 3 of them. And it's really stressful. And when I was on the call, he was talking about growing a podcast and all this kind of stuff. And then I was like, but what's the whole goal of this? Like, what do you want to do? And he was like, I actually want to write a book and be a public speaker. And I said, okay, well, if you want to be a public speaker, you got to do 3 podcasts a week on these 3 different shows for the next 2 years. And then he got there in a year, and it was paid as well. And I said it to him, and I was like, because you had the balls to actually jump at it back here, and you knew what you wanted to get personally, because people don't want to grow a business, they want to grow their life. The business is just a vehicle to get there, you know? They want to utilize that money for everything else. So it's super important, especially for yourself, Simon, to connect on that personal level. It's like, what does that actually mean? You know, it's not about the numbers and the charts. It's about what does that actually mean? Because then we slow down again. So this is like layer 1, layer 2, and this is pre-pitch. No one even knows what they're getting yet. Layer 3 is, Gian, this is great. Why can't you do this yourself? And they'll say, if I knew how to do it, I wouldn't fucking be here, would I? And that's when they're like, okay, I'm in. Right? They're like, I know whatever this is, whatever this process is, whether it's like window licking or options trading, I'm just gonna, if this solves my problem, it's gonna take care of it. So the self-admission is a super, super, super important point, because after that's done, we slow down, ask for permission. It's like, I'm done. These are all my questions. If you want, I can walk you through how I can help you. Because that's,
Permission's a big thing, right?
it's always asking for permission. Do you want me to show you how I can help you? Yes. And then you can have your 7-step webinar funnel, imaginary jumping, backflip, trampoline tactic here. It doesn't even matter. You're delivering what that is. A bit more specifics here is like, get really out of the features, right? It's like, yes, we'll help you grow your business. We'll help you with content. We won't get into the details. You're awful for that, by the way. You're terrible for going into the minutiae of like, there's this database which connects to that database. Like, no one gives a shit about database. Yeah. But all they care about is outcome, right? You'll have this exit. You'll have a software company. It will save you time. It'll make you money, save you time, improve your relationships, get you fit, shredded, lean, whatever. Yes, you might introduce a small bit of the mechanisms. It's options trading, not Forex. It's LinkedIn, it's not Instagram, whatever. But we don't want to get really caught in the minutiae, right? And thinking of it in layers. You don't want to get into the details of layers. Because then they're like, this makes sense, amazing. The biggest issue with the pitch is the fact that it's generally going to be, it's a bit of time, like 4 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. You never, ever, 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 ever want to walk into the steps of like investment or anything to pitch. Never, ever, ever. Because you haven't got any permission and no one has got any buy-in. We slow down, we stop and say, okay, how are we looking right now? From everything I told you about like how we help you specifically, how does this sound? Does this sound like a good fit for you? Okay, great. From a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a good fit is this, right? 1, I hate you, I'm going to block you on Facebook and tell everyone that you're an awful person, humor is important. Or 10, like everything's great, but most specifically it's going to be like 7, 8, 9. And it's like, what is missing within there? Oh, I want to know when the coaching calls are. Great, okay, so let's go back into the pitch a small bit. Yeah, the coaching calls are on this day. Who else is in there? That happens a lot, right? It's like, who else is in there? What other businesses are in there? Do you help agencies as well as coaching? I always get that question for some reason. So we can pre-handle a lot of the stuff. We go back up into here. And then it's about, okay, Andrew, like, does this solve your problem? Like, are you fully, and you don't say like price aside. It's like, are you happy with this? Does this all make sense? This, you agree that this solves your problem, right? You're gonna grow your business and fix your SEO issue, for sure. Okay, fantastic. So if that makes sense, I'll just kind of walk you through what would happen next if we got started and what that would look like. I'm not even doing any investment. So within 20 minutes, we'll have you on the platform. You'll see everything. We'll even go through the platform. You'll see what the program looks like. We'll even get the one-to-one call on with the CSM. And in 20 minutes, you'll have all that up and running. And you'll be literally in. You're going to be in straight away. And you're going to be way back here solving that massive problem up there. And how long was that a problem for again? Oh, 6 months. Great. One thing I overlooked as well is that part of the problem up here is duration. I touched on this the other day, which is like, if you stub your toe, it's not an issue. But if you stub your toe and it's bleeding for 2 weeks later, it's a massive issue. So we need to find the duration of the pain, right? And it's not okay to suffer in silence and have the same issue over and over again, right? Like, as in, it's not okay to have that issue. If your whatever problem is not being fixed, and this is interesting, right? Let's just take an example of security. Like, security is a good example. If your servers in a company, I won't get too detailed, but if your servers got hacked, right? 5 minutes is pretty disastrous for a company. Whereas 5 minutes for someone's CRM going down in a sales thing is not an issue. So like, duration isn't actually built on the time, it's actually built on the circumstance of the time. Right? So for you, this is huge, right? Something goes down with some massive PE firm. It's like, well, fucking hell, like there's 2 days of trading, right? There's 2 days of market trading. You've lost all this money as well. And what's important here is like, you really do got to lean into pain, right? People run from pain versus run towards pleasure. And the reason, the psychology behind it is because people don't know what the future is, like the real dream outcome is, because they've never experienced it, right? Now, if you have been in the Ritz-Carlton before, you'll always be able to benchmark it against it. So that's why a lot of rich people never want to go backwards. But if you're trying to sell the Ritz-Carlton to someone who's, again, Maslow's hierarchy needs the very bottom, it's not a desirable outcome. But solving the specific pain that they have actually is way better. So you don't want to bleed too much into it, but you can bleed too much into it because the thing is that they can actually feel it. They can feel it, they can see it. All the sensories are actually experiencing the issue. And then at that point, it's like, okay, does that make sense? So like, we can get everything solved super quickly. Great. All right, so I guess the last thing that we need to talk through is just the investment. Do you want me to share with you how it would look like? Okay, great. So it's 20K and 6 months access, and we'll solve X, Y, Z. Good to get going. And then we'll kind of get into the objections down here. But the big part about the objections is that everything is already pre-handled, right? So if someone's like, yeah, like it's like everything. It's like, okay, I need to think about it. It's like, dude, it's been a problem for fucking 4 months. What do you need to think about? You need more information, so let's chat about it. What else do you need to ask me? Or I need to talk to my spouse. It's like, back here, here, and here, you said there's no spouse, right? So it's obviously a smokescreen. Or I need to see more case studies. Okay, we can walk you through it, but the case studies is probably just fear. So what do you fear about? Oh, I actually don't trust you guys. Why don't you trust us? Oh, because I only came into your funnel recently. But you said you watched a thank you video, you said you watched a VSL, so you spent an hour and a half watching the videos, man. That's not the issue. There's something else issue. Because a lot of the issues are personal, and we discussed this actually, I think, I don't know who discussed it, a lot of Gian, we said this, a lot of it is the person has to change, the identity has to change. So it's like, you're using an external excuse of, I need more time, or I need to talk to my spouse, for an internal issue that you're not willing to change. Fear and dread and procrastination and mental masturbation is the reason why you haven't changed. Let's chat about it. And this is where you never ever take someone's words for face value, right? You look at like, what are the underlying traits? And because we've gone through this discovery process, we've seen where they are. It's like, respectfully, you've been at this position for years, man. And now we have an opportunity to fix it. And this is how we never run 2 calls. It's 1 call. Because we go through this process and it's very, very clean. We're able to see where the issues are. And all you got to do, this is the funny thing, is just learn it. And of course, case by case, there's personality types, okay? There's someone who's a bit more like emotive, a bit more logical, for sure, like, absolutely. But that's not an excuse, and that's 100% a crutch, 100%. You know, if someone's like, oh, I just don't make these decisions on a call, it's like, but that is literally why you're not changing. Like, Liz, we talked about this the other night. You asked me about what my decision-making process is, and I was like, I've never thought about anything ever.
Yeah.
I just do things, and then I'll just make it work. And if it doesn't work, I'll do something else.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because like high logic people might do that. But what I'm trying to say is like, you part of your job, especially as so service or coach, but especially coach, mentor, guide, is you have to change the identity of your thing, of your prospect. So, you know, people say that you can't change your beliefs in sales. That's complete bullshit. You can absolutely change someone's beliefs because their pattern behaviors for the past 5 years has destroyed them. And which is why they're on the call. And if you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't be on this call. So, and it's kind of like this, it's kind of like the Spider-Man meme, right? It's like, we all know what's going on here, and we all know that I can help you, but you are the one that's in the way of your positioning. I'm here as a trusted advisor. My wife's dad taught me a lot about sales, and he was like, from the chewing glass era of sales, and a lot of it is the trusted advisor. Like, that's who you're meant to be in this process. And you can call out a prospect. This is a big thing. It's like, they're a prospect, they're not like your wife, right? It's like, you know, man, this is a bit of a smoke screen. Come on. Like, this is a smoke screen, right? Like, this is, we can all joke about it, and we use a bit of humor, but it's like, this is what's getting you stuck. So let's talk about it. And we got to get to the point whereby we, as a salesperson or as a founder, get comfortable talking about this stuff with prospects. Because if you don't get comfortable with it, they're not going to buy it. So we do sell by chat, right? It was requested by clients, and the biggest thing when it came to getting people either on calls or getting people to pay was, or anything, it was like, okay, I have this free training to help you. If I share it with you, are you able to watch it now? And that simple check allowed us to have permission to be like, did you enjoy the video? And especially if you want to book in a call, it's like, are you okay to book in a call now? We're going to check on your side. So again, the best time to act is now, but we need to have a way, especially in sell by chat, to not let them just run away into the abyss.
We find that with girls that are under the age of 22,
Okay.
they don't do calls, right? Like in their normal living,
Yeah.
everything is message. So they're the only place where I would even attempt to sell by chat. Everyone else, I'm like, the quicker I can get you on a call, the better.
But that's kind of a limiting belief, right?
But she keeps going, like every time she's offered a call, it's a no, and then she runs away.
Okay, so basically there's a few things here. If you're in that position and someone is like trying to get like more resources, you can take a soft refundable deposit. You can take $500, $100. It's that small bit of a commitment, and you can say this. It's the commitment you need to have that lock-in. Like we had this example of this guy based in Russia. Obviously, banks are super fucked up in Russia. He gets paid $500, and he spent like 2 weeks trying to like jump through financial hoops, and he came back and paid a $6K. In like 2 weeks' time. But we knew that he had that commitment.
She wants a payment plan, so
Yeah.
it's $6.95.
But it's like what I'm trying to say is like, there needs to just be something to change that internal dialogue of them running and coping from the existing problem, right? So there has to be that, and what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to use forceful language, but you need to use action language, which is like, if I share with you the payment link right now, can you take care of it now?
Which is what I said.
But can you take care of it right now? Okay? I think you didn't say that because that was one thing I was picking up for. It's like, can you clear it now? And they say, great, okay, I sent it to you.
I said, great, are you going to do it right now?
Okay, good.
She said, I will, I need to sort out money. Then I said, when will you do that?
Okay.
And she said, now.
Okay, well now you can reference that point. It's okay. Yesterday you said now, and now you're at this point. Because you need to, so at this point, you're at like, it's like squeaky bum time, right? You gotta like compress time, and you gotta get the outcome. So, where's Tiernan? It's like, there's no maybes, right? There's no maybes. What is there?
No maybe.
And there's only?
In and out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's in and out. So, you can leave this call right now, and I don't care, and it's okay. But you cannot tell us, because I'm just gonna think about it, and it's gonna come back around.
Right,
Whatever.
So now I'm hearing that. I'm going to send her a message that says, hey babe, if you don't want it, it's okay.
No outs. No. So, okay. So, you have to kind of like, you have to presume that it's like, because it's so obvious to you.
My natural process would be now, I've come to you, I've helped you,
Yeah.
I'm going to walk away.
Okay, so, because you know you can help her, and because she knows you can help her, the next step is just to presume that it's ready to go. And this is what me and Imran did. You were like, I was going to build you this VSL builder. I was like, all right, cool, bro. And we just kept doing this thing, and then that didn't work. We did something else. It was like, you always presume it as an in, because one, you're super warm as a coach, and it's like, the natural step is actually take a step. I'll give an example, actually. So I do a few days of sales calls a month just to teach the guys. We have these banking issues all the time, like UAE, send across. There's often times where specifically women who are like much more like trusting than guys, to be honest, not gonna lie, that if they say they're in, I'll give them the join in link.
Yeah.
And they'll sign in, they'll sign in. In a day or two, I never text them, they'll pay in full. Yeah. Because like, and it works both ways, right? But it's like, I know that you're struggling for a factor beyond your control, external factor.
Yeah.
We'll fix that, we'll get you access, and then you're in. I've never had an issue with that. Now, that's super case by case, right? But specifically with women, way more trusting than guys when it comes to payment plans and everything.
Yeah.
Way more trusting. They just do it.
Yeah.
Guys will take shit and run away.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a competition ego thing.
Yeah.
So basically, all this kind of stuff, it only matters when the metrics are correct, though. So, and this is where we built this stuff first, and then the other stuff, because you all have lofty goals, and it's great. You want to make like 100K in a month. You have to see how much volume of calls you're getting, right? You have to track the number, okay? Like it has to be there.
So I want to know, how do you track the no? So with this chick,
Yeah.
right? She went through all of that. That's pretty much how we do sales, right?
Yep.
And
But
then,
your funnel's all fucked up though.
pardon?
Your funnel's all fucked up in terms of like, but this stuff is good for ye, but you don't have any of this stuff yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Correct.
Yeah.
Although we do a lot of that on the, like up until now we've done it on the call.
Exactly, but you can do this way beforehand.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's all happened with her. It was a no at the time, she's gone away.
Yeah.
And now 3 months down the track, she's come back.
Amazing.
Right?
So,
Now, but we did nothing.
yeah,
So in this case, it's like, great, her life's shit, that makes her come back.
yeah.
But what about the person whose life is okay? They don't come back. So how do you get them? Because that's what we have. We have so many of them.
Welcome to a sales organization.
Yes, thank you.
That's called pipeline selling. Everyone that's 45 days net, so when they say they booked on the 1st of June, when they're 45 days previous, we reach back out, hey Liz, I know you had an issue with putting out content. Did you solve that problem? No. No, you don't send them anything. You say no, okay? Okay? Yeah, so they say, no, I didn't solve that issue. I didn't overcome whatever that problem is. All right, so, okay. It's been 45 days. We said we were going to do this. You didn't solve it yourself. Doesn't make sense. Then we would run an offer, being like, if we're able to get you started today, would that make sense to get moving? And that's all in chat.
And
Because-
you do all video calls to sales.
All call funnels, yeah. Yeah, all calls.
Videos. Like, because I just ring people.
No. Zoom call,
video.
yeah. Because you want to get into the detail, right? Like, this is the thing.
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
do that before.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say, it's scale, right? You know what I mean? As in, like, if you go above anywhere between 50 calls in a month, you need to track the shit out of them. You need to see what your show rate is. You need to see what your close rate is. You need to see what your objections are, because we can pull all the objections, right? And whether you're doing them manually or like we're going to be managing them in a software, you need to be able to actually get the objections, because the objections are going to feed into here. That's going to feed into here, the call funnel even. And then even at the lead scoring, then you're going to see, are we booking duds? Are we booking A, B, C? So again, an A lead would be someone who's like high intent, high problem. They have the gap, they have the money. A B is in between, a C and a D is a dud, right? Because like what happens is of that, this is interesting, of that 100, you might cancel 20, so 20% you'll cancel. Of that 80, 70% would show. And then of that 70, that's your show rate, right? So there's 70 of 80, you know? So of that 70, of that 70 that's qualified, of that 80 that's qualified, 70 show. So that's your show rate being like 80% or whatever, you know? So like people really fuck up these. Like this is like 101, it's like 101 sales, right? It's like how much people are getting on calls that are qualified, which is the most important part. Of those then, how much you're closing. And I think Will touched on this yesterday, but so these numbers go a lot deeper. So it's like close rate super low, you have two issues. Pricing issue, I don't think it's a pricing issue. It's usually because you're shit at sales, right? Because everyone is inherently shit at sales. If your close rate's super high, you have a pricing issue, undoubtedly, right? So you just drive the price up, which is great, make more money. And then we need to look at, so I describe it layer one.
Is there not another reason why your close rate would be high? Like, so I feel as though our close rate's high because we don't do enough calls.
Yes, so, awesome. So that's always the case, right? So low call volume, high close rate, not enough calls, right? Not enough data, right? High call volume, low close rate, shit leads or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And then like we look at, so the story we have of Sophia is like the cash collected thing was hilarious. Was all she had was payment plans because her whole world was like sell by napkin, and instead she gets swapped to a call funnel and just did pay in fulls. So then, and then this was interesting is like, people will okay, take a step back. The reason why you have to track this stuff is because people will always look at other excuses as to why they're not making money. So they'll say, it's the leads, it's the sales, it's the marketing, or like, that guy's a tire kicker. We often hear this, that guy's a tire kicker. It's like, no. Your trailing close rate is 15%. That guy's not a tire kicker, you're just shit at objection handling. Because like the actual sales process, the closing happens here. Investment, objections, right? And marketing, MQLs, does all that shit. SQLs, does all this stuff, the sales qualification process, and then like the dog fight happens down here. You know, and this is why you want people on calls, because you can see the objections. And it's like, you've been in the ecosystem for 2.5 years, you've had this problem, you've rebooked, that person you rebooked. So because you pipeline sell, the biggest thing on pipeline selling is, because we pass them from closer to closer, this is the thing, you know, people leave and whatever. It's like you booked a call with A 4 months ago. You're back with B, closer, and now you still have this problem. Come on, bro. Right? And you can actually bring down the pressure by laughter sometimes. You know, it's like, it's kind of getting a bit ridiculous, right? And you're back on the call. Like, we could have whatever, you just get it solved straight away. So layer 1 data, this is like non-negotiable. So in the incubator, you see a lot of this stuff. Layer 2 data then is like total revenue, what platform is optimizing well, is it warm or cold, and then the lead scoring. Right? This is really important, right? Especially for you, Simon, who's running the book funnel. You're gonna have to get really, really, really good at understanding, is it from the book funnel? Is it from organic? Are they from warm? Are they from cold? And then because of the tracking, we'll be able to assess, okay, cold traffic is converting at 10%, warm traffic is converting at 30%, but the volume of calls on cold is way lower than the volume of calls on, or higher, sorry, than the volume of calls on hot. You know? Like, it's a machine, you know? It's quite literally a machine. Now, if you do 10 calls a month, you can still interpret all this data. So the kind of big thing in like founder-led sales is like, well, I don't have a sales team to track all this stuff to make more money. It's like, because you don't track this stuff is the reason why you don't make money. Like, you know, the reason why people are in good shape is because they weigh themselves every day. If you weigh yourself every day, you're gonna make the life decisions as a result. And then layer 3 data then is the most important. Well, it's like, so this is like very interpretive data, which is pacing, forecasting, and like reviewing. So the thing that happens to us in our sales team is we always start really hard. The first 7 days, we start really hard. New month, new energy, we all just drive towards it. The end of the month, so day 20 to 30, everyone's like, we need to make more sales, so they all run at it.
We have no idea what you're talking
Yeah, but between day 8 and day 20, there's kind of this like piff and trough of like despair, whereby everyone's like, but it's the weekend, and like whatever, he rebooked and whatever. So there's operational drag that happens in a lack of sales management. So what happens is you just coast and you go sideways. Whereas the goal is to be able to understand from like a pacing perspective, like, holy shit, month over month, we're down on calls. Show rate down on calls, close rate down on calls. What can we do about it? Right? Because a lot of this stuff is like, take the emotion out of it. It's really important because sales reps are so like, they're just puppies, right? There's puppies. So it's like, because they're puppies, we got to look at the data and be like, okay, that's not cool that the show rate is 40%. Either the leads are shit or no one's doing triaging, which is one of the two. You know, and it's like a mad scientist. You can just kind of like pick and fill in the gap. Whereas with content, organic content, it's just like, it's a casino. You just post and casino worked, whatever. This is all maths. It's all mathematical, you know? And it's literally a machine because if you know what the numbers is down here, you can just scale the shit out of it, right? Because holistically, the numbers will just kind of like check out as time goes on. They just kind of balance. Especially as the month goes on, you know, towards the end of the month, all these numbers just start to rebalance a small bit. It's just a kind of checks and balances, basically. So that's kind of it. Now, if you're in the incubator and stuff, all the call funnels are already there, but the reason why I go over this so much is because like this is the most important part. You know, this is the only thing that matters. And especially if you're gonna do the calls yourself, like Ben, you've just learned this process really, really well, and you kind of doubled it up, and that's why you're closing clients. But soon, you're gonna have to probably get a setter, and then a setter is going to have to do this process, you know? So the faster you get this, and also the best thing about this is, the reason why I love sales so much, and the reason why I'm building a sales software is because sales will never change. People are the same, objections are the same, human nature is the same. Content, fucking flimsy. There's going to be a new Instagram in 4 years' time. Whereas this shit, if you learn this in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, you'll never be stressed about money.
This is exactly what Napoleon Hill taught in The Law of Success, right?
Yeah,
it's exactly the same. It's just that the mechanisms change.
Yeah. So you can insert a door-to-door sales into this process, whatever that may be. But if you fundamentally understand like what makes people jump off the ledge into your program, is like I sleep very chill at night. I got crazy high overheads. I spend so much money on like team and everything. I know statistically, like I could hop on the DMs, I could hop on the calls, and all these numbers will check out because it's a skill.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is the satisfaction that I do not have.
You don't have a peace of mind.
If I have a training.
Yeah. But you don't have peace of mind.
But on a month I don't have a training.
But this is it. Like you're.
It could be $1 million in the month, and it could be 100,000.
And this is the difference in. So your business and our business are roughly the same size in terms of revenue, but our business is just way more ran off like just numbers, and like it's way less erratic.
Yeah, it's stability.
Yeah, it's stability, and also like things like this is enterprise value, right? If this is a money printing machine, some random PE firm's like, I want that, right? And like an events company sell, you know, like that's what I mean. It's like, you know, we talk about info and coaching and agencies and so on. Like agencies sell, man. Like I know a lot of agency platforms now that sell. Acquire.com, I know it's Acquire.com, MicroAcquire. They went into info products and agencies. They didn't tell you that on Instagram. But anyway, so yeah, this shit sells. Info is super valuable. If you learn the skills, you can build anything. Software, B2B, SaaS, whatever it is. But this is just the whole thing overall. Yes, yeah. 1 hour calls.
So you don't have any pitch deck or something?
No. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And then if anyone says, send you more details, if someone's asking for more details, you're like, no, just ask me the questions now. Like ask me the questions what you want now. And then be like, I'm actually not available, like, all the time. Because think about it, part of that energy balance, you said this about your observation of me, is like, there is an energy with like, if I'm always available, then I'm actually never available for my clients. So it's like, we have this opportunity right now. You can ask me a few calls. You can ask me a few questions. But like afterwards, like, don't text me. Like, don't text me on WhatsApp, right? You know? So, and you have to respect that. And then people are like, oh, this guy's kind of serious. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah, but this is beautiful. Like, this actual mechanism is literally, it's forever, you know?
Did you hear them all punch me then?
Yeah, but yeah, your issue is that you're too involved in the programs. We'll talk about that. It's a separate issue, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions on this, please? I either explained it really well or scared people a lot. So, like, one or the other.
You actually fucking nailed it. That was really great. And I think, in terms of like, if I speak for myself, this is what we have been doing, but we've been putting all of it
in person
into a sales form.
Yeah, into person.
Which
Makes it when people good at sales and they're getting results.
Yeah, so only the people who are great at sales get results.
Okay, the other thing as well to add to this is that because of like AI analysis sales, like whether you use transcript or use my tool, I don't give a shit. But because if you use AI transcripts like ChatGPT, someone who's a B or a C player can become an A player before. Back in the day, a sales manager would have to watch a Zoom call like this all day and fire before he fires you. He'd watch 80 of your calls in a day and fire you at the end of the day. Whereas now you can do this in seconds. Fucking seconds.
Slight drop.
Yeah.
Because there are other people who have way less great programs that have suddenly learned how to sell through ChatGPT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and objection handling. And, yeah.
Competition in the market. So then it's like,
So record your calls.
competition because that's for losers. So let's go. How do we do it?
Yeah. Record your calls. Write it in your content. Look at your call scripts. The biggest thing when you're putting in these call scripts into ChatGPT to review them, now we have them in Incubator or Apex to the actual checklist, is, so my whole saying with sales is you can't make the same mistake twice. You can make a mistake, but not the same one twice because it's the same fucking shit, right? So you can't say the same dumb thing twice. And you should use that with your transcripts. Here's what I did last week. Here's what I did this week. See what I'm repeating over and over again. Because if you hit the different psychological triggers, you'll get the result, positive or negative, depending on did you follow, not necessarily the structure, but it's structure, right? It's not script, it's a structure. Because
like for us, your script as such is quite masculine. But the structure is exactly what we do.
Yeah.
In a bit more.
Yeah. Cool. I know you had a question, Matt.
Yeah, with just collecting payment, so like B2B, let's say they have an accounting department, you're still collecting payment on the call, or what do you
Andrew does that, you know? Yeah. So because you can't, like that's like a limiting belief that people won't pay on a call, right? it's like, I understand that there's an accounting department and so on, but like you got to think about everyone's case by case scenario. You know, if they're willing to pay, they might just take the link straight away and send it over or whatever, or you could process it there or whatever that is. But like, don't think of like traditional behaviors as that. Back in the day, banks were like, 4 days before you got your payment, and Revolut just came out and had instant payments. It's like you can't think like something just because something was. You know, that's what I said to you. I used to have loads of issues with that program that we ran. They're like, oh, it's going to be a 90-day cycle. And I was like, let's get on a call. I was taking the sales calls. These huge companies we were coaching people's sales, and I was doing the sales calls for them, and I was like, yeah, like, this is how the calls are run. And you can kind of break the system. Does that make sense? When you know it. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's
so like you just say like, hey, I'll wait. Like they're like, oh, I need to talk to accounting. It's like, oh, I'll wait.
Well, then accounting or the CFO or whatever should be in the call.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense? If he's a decision maker, he should be in the call in the first place. And it's like, why have a call with Jenna, who's just like completely disconnected, or Mark, who's completely disconnected, or someone from a different department? Have a call with the decision maker. Cool.
So I think the thing is, I know with institutions, especially banks and shit, is that they have this sort of thing where they sort of fault people off and say, oh, it'll take a week, or it'll take us 3 months to fucking put this cost code through, and it's like, okay, fuck off then. And that sort of gets them sort of overboard, and it's like, oh, suddenly I need this because these guys are telling me to fuck off, and then doesn't do that.
100%. You have to say no to people. And also, one thing as well, is service. My mentor, I think I said a week, was if you provide services, you'll always be a servant of the person. And they inherently, subconsciously, don't respect you as much as if you'd coach them. I don't know why that is. But you have to make sure that they're playing your game because it's your business. You're not playing their game. So if someone does something that's like a little bit outside of what you want, you kind of have to correct the behavior. It's like a dog. You correct the behavior and fix it. It's like you're not a member of their company. They're a client of yours. So they have to bring a certain level of expectation. It's really important, man. That energy and kind of, it's like a power play, power laws. That is important, man. It's really, really important. Otherwise, it's a dog fight with your clients, you know? So it's like, I remember we had an instance recently, and it was harmless, but a client was looking for something over the weekend, and he was like, where's the editor's WhatsApp? And then one of the team members sent over the WhatsApp because he's based in like a different country, and I just wrote it in the chat being like, we don't communicate directly with clients, with team members on WhatsApp. Don't message them. And he goes, okay, sorry. That was it. You know, it wasn't malicious. I was like, don't message my team members on WhatsApp. It's fucking the weekend, and also don't do it in general. And he just corrected the behavior, and that was it. There was no like issue or anything.
How did you get the WhatsApp then?
So it was in Slack, and he just goes, oh, can I have his WhatsApp just to give him a call because there's something was behind? And I just wrote a chat being like, do not contact my team member on WhatsApp.
Sure, I thought you made a message on WhatsApp.
No. And I was like, okay. And he was like, okay, that's fine. You know, it's boundaries. You know, it's boundaries, right? Yeah. He can message me, I'm the founder, right? If something goes wrong, I'll give him a call on WhatsApp, respectfully, right? But a team member, he's not getting paid that, right? Cool. Any more questions on this?
So sometimes you send the offer doc, and out of that offer doc, you have the link to the call, right?
Matt touched on this yesterday as well. It's like when you're using an offer doc, depending on your niche, you got to be very careful with the workflow. So it's where would you use an offer doc, or are you using a call funnel? Like, if you're gonna go ahead.
You want to use an offer doc as a persuasion sales letter. Think of it like that.
Yeah.
So it's like the offer doc. It's like you want them to read it to then convince themselves that they won't get on a call. So we're using that kind of mechanism.
Yeah. You could use it as a, let's say they book a call. You could need to use it as a training. It's like you could just send it on the offer doc too, you know? Like it could be like this asset, but you just got to make sure you don't trip yourself up, you know? So it's important to remove as much friction from the funnel as possible, but not too much friction whereby you get tire kickers, right? And this is my kind of product background is like our goal, we ran a trading company, and it was, we just got to take your money. It's trading, right? It's B2C trading. We just want your money. And we got to do enough things that legally cover us to get you onboarded, but not enough to slow you down, and just enough to take as much money from you. That was literally the attitude. We did 1 billion in the AUM. Bear in mind.
That's a really dumb question.
Yep.
It's sort of dumb because I need the answer. What is an offer doc?
It's just a one page that's a bit of an overview of like the actual program you have, you know? But you don't necessarily need it, you know?
I'll show you mine.
I would love to see. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You have them on landing pages. Yeah.
You can often kill momentum in the call
know what's happening.
Yeah.
After the call, it's
No, but that's the whole thing, is that should be pre-handled, right? Like that shouldn't, like, okay, I'll give you an example. If someone wants more info, then, so if someone says, oh, I need more info, then it's not a discovery issue, it's actually a pitch issue. Turn in. So it's not a, so the logic there is like, you gotta understand what's the issue with the objection. If they say, I need more info, that means the pitch has been shit. So the pitch has been bad, you haven't delivered the pitch well, and then it's like, okay, all right, you need more info. Do you want me to explain the offer again? You need to go back into the area, right? So it's like, what's the signal? They don't want an out, or they might not even need an out, they just want more information on that. You know, and also, one thing that I missed with this here is that there's an art to silence too, right? Whenever the guys watch my calls, they actually watch them live, I'll just be like, how do you feel? And then they're like, and they're waiting for me to say something. I'm like,
First one to talk loses.
and then I'm like, and they're like, I feel. I'm like, how do I feel? And I'm like, we go down that path then, right? And like, instead of like, what do you want to do? How do you feel? Right? The feeling over the action. And then the silence is important. And also, one thing as well as part of that aspirational identity is that you have to embody it. If I'm on the call being like, so you're going to piff or not? You're going to piff or not? They're like, this guy's psycho. Whereas if I embody like a good body language, I'm fun, I'm enthusiastic, I'm uplifting, I'm like, this is great, this is fun. I love trading, I love this, I love that. Which you kind of do well. They're like, this is fucking great. And then it's like, you see the investment thing? We'll take care of that. Don't worry about that thing. We'll take care of that. But, so, has anyone ever read, it's part of Persuasion, or it's part of Influence by Robert Cialdini. I think it's Influence. It's what's focal is causal, right? And so if you're like, get off the road, it's really dangerous, really dangerous, really dangerous, you're going to pull up on your bike and be like, fuck, no, this is super dangerous. Whereas if you're like, oh, it's fine, right? Because whatever you focus on becomes true. So if we focus on the investment and we're like, we're going to tell you at the end, and then there's this bonus, and there's this bonus, the person's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Whereas usually I'm just like, this is a rite of passage. The investment is a rite of passage. We'll worry about that, payment plans, whatever, we'll take care of that. But you are you're very confident that we can help you. You're happy with the temperature check. The process makes sense, and there's no questions. Okay, so the investment is just a gateway. It's just a thing on the side. Don't worry about it. Especially if it's like biz op, because it's like, look, dude, you're gonna give me 8, and I'm gonna give you back 50.
Yeah.
You know? Cool.
So I have an interesting question, just to get your take on it. So stage selling, right?
Yeah.
We do a lot of that, and we're quite good at it. And I feel like I'm going to throw you under the bus. So Shauna, like Katie and I have spent a lot of time helping Shauna with her stage sale, and I feel like you're really good at this.
Yes.
Like, I know there's a lot in it.
Yeah.
And so just so that she can hear it differently, how would you do particularly the disqualification from stage? So we know how we do it. That's not landing for Shauna. I'm wondering if you have a different opinion that could land for Shauna.
Well, it's kind of like who you're for and who you're not for, right?
Yeah.
So we took out the word creator, and it's like, I'm not for anyone who wants to get likes. I'm here for people who want to get leads. Yeah. I'm not here for anyone who's going to spend 16 hours creating one short form clip. I'm here for people that want to just go and get the job done. So it's
Like little one-liners.
yeah. It's and I talk in tweets when I'm speaking, right? So I speak in like short little words. Always, I like try to do like sub 7 words and send it when I'm speaking on stage, right? But it's just we want to say who we're for, who we're not for, and then someone's immediately doing that mental check. And Matt talked about this yesterday, which is like looking at the content. Okay, is this for me or not for me? And then you want to cause more rise to it. Now, I don't want to split the audience and nail the enemy, right? Because like that's just not my brand. I'm not like that into it. Yeah, every once in a while I might have a dig at just the creators, but not in like a very malicious way. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example that's more malicious. It's like the carnivores hitting on the vegans and the vegans hitting on the carnivores. That's malicious, right? Whereas like you don't need to do that in your marketing, right? So that's an extreme example, but it's the best example, right? So that's why you got to understand like where do you sit and where does your brand sit? How does it feel, right? How does it feel in this kind of context? And that's kind of it. Now, that's this. We will take a bit of a pause in a minute before we go into like the integration, which is basically the rest of the day, which is case by case, what are you going to be doing going forward. But I'm happy to answer more questions on this. If people get it, that's great. If they don't get it, like feel free to put your hand up. Yeah.
I have a question, because like I mentioned, I had a sales call last night,
Yeah.
It did close, but I'm not sure if I fucked up the end completely, so can I just tell you what happened and then you can...
Yeah, can I give you one example first, right? So I played a lot of poker, okay? I played multi-table poker, right? And I fucking love poker. The biggest issue with poker is you never want to play the wrong hand and win. It fucks your brain.
I know, I
So that's why I'm all about, and everyone's like, oh, but like this closed. And I'm like, that's bullshit, right? It's bullshit. Like, you have to run the structure, and if it closes or not closes, you walk away with no guilt or no like questions. You know, like that was literally, I played poker for 3-4 years, and that's everything. It's the most important part.
Okay, yeah, so at the end I pitched the new price, which was 5 pound.
He took it,
5 pound.
and he paid.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's for the normal volume, and he said he's at like 30 to 40K a month right now, and he's nearly at 50% margins. And he was like, bro, if I pay 5K, it's literally gonna crush the margins, and I'm trying to like hire new coaches right now. So he was like, could we start with half the volume? And I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a lot less work because it's 3K a month.
Yeah.
And he said yes for that. Now I'm not sure if that's, would you consider that a real objection, or is that like a smoke?
So I would try to handle it first to be like, look, are you serious about your business? Do you actually want to grow it? Like, do you want to hit some big numbers? Paying 5K for an outsourced marketing department is literally pennies. So like, do you actually want to do that? But if they literally don't have enough money in the bank, I would take the foot in the door offer, get some great results, and work your way up then as a result. You know. So I would have just stayed in the awkwardness a little bit to try to handle it, to see can we get them up there, and then hold that space, because bear in mind, you're not trying to sell to him, he's trying to solve his problem. So he still has that same problem, and he's thinking in his head, this guy can solve my problem. If I get off this call, I'm still in the exact same position that I'm in right now. So you have a lot of gravity there, and someone always has someone by the walls. So literally, you have actually him there. So it's like, look, before we do any about extreme discounts and all this kind of stuff, like, can we actually solve this objection? Because you told me you have some big goals and you want to get the 100K a month. Like, what was his goal? 100K a month. Okay, perfect. So if I have to give you 5 pennies to get back 100 pennies, that's great, right? Or like in the office, if I give you 4 lemons to get 2 lemons back, right? It's like, that's the kind of mental, you want to get really logical with it. Because the emotion has been kind of taken care of. And then we got to get into like really logical selling.
Okay. Yeah, my thinking was like, I think I can still get results with like half the volume and like increase the revenue, and then he'll be able to pay the 5K.
Yeah, and he's also going to pass like the kind of, I call it the dumbass test, right? They're going to bring you in to see are you a dumbass, and they're going to see then what else can we do with them, you know? Like we edit ads, man. We do everything for clients, you know? We don't offer that in the beginning, but then we eventually do it. We coach their sales teams and everything, you know? On the agency side too. We'll bring in their setters into our sales training. Because we see like the goal for you is to solve more problems for your customer as they go on. It's a problem solution continuum. The more problems you solve for them, the more money, the more valuable you're going to become. So it's good to get the front of the door offer, but then after 60 days in, you're like, look, respectfully, you know, I'm not a dumbass. He's going to laugh. And then you're going to say, well, it doesn't make sense now to increase the volume. Not to increase the money, increase the volume. You know? Because a lot of the strategy calls I do with clients, I do nothing to do with roadmap. Don't ask me where your thumbnail is. But I can say, where do you want to get to? I want to do this. Amazing. And they're like, I want to do weekly videos. They would have done bi-weekly. I'm like, great, let's do it. Fantastic, let's do it. And then we just send invoice afterwards. You know? Yeah. Well, you offered the goal. It's like, you still want to get to 100K a month? Yes. Do you realize that having an extra 2 videos a month on YouTube would be more valuable? Yeah, 100%. Let's do it, man. Let's go. You know? Commercials, figure all that stuff out, man. Don't worry about it. You know? I always try to just downplay the investment a lot. This doesn't matter. We'll take care of it. Because if you have big, lofty goals, it's fine to you, right? And also if you get, yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever push into the energetics in objections? So like when I hear that, my thing is he wants his clients to pay him, but he's unwilling to pay. So energetically, he's already blocking his clients coming in because he's saying, I don't pay, which means his clients will say, I don't pay.
Yeah, it's like...
So do you ever utilize that?
Kind of, I'm always like, your clients are a reflection of you, your business is a reflection of you, and if you're like Mr. Scrooge counting all the pennies, well, how do you...
Clients are going to be like that too.
Yeah, I guess haven't done like the kind of mindset coaching stuff to understand it. Now, we talked about this last night, and we could bring that more into one, our coaching, and 2, our sales process. Yeah. But I guess spot those bad behaviors, right? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, and it's just, I said this to Yannick yesterday. Like Yannick, I said to you, like respectfully, I was like, you got a lot of limiting beliefs that we got to work through. Yeah. There's just things that you believe that are just like not true. You know, it's just not true. You know, it's like, just saying like, oh, people won't pay that. It's like, How the fuck do you know? Have you taken 200 sales calls on it, you know? And like we all think these things, you know? I'm like,
every belief is limiting.
yeah.
You believe you're a billionaire, you're not a trillionaire.
Yeah. The content's something that's going to be happening no matter what. You're going to have to put out content. Like, it's just going to be like a thing you're going to be doing. So that's kind of like the non-negotiables. It's like the bare ass minimum. Now you do, as we discussed, probably need to like improve your copywriting, get better. Like your video content's great. You probably just need to keep it more authentic. So if you're going into Genesis, just keeping it much, yeah, iPhone content or just relaxed, you know, that's important. But the immediate step is going to be solve the issue right now with the offer. But you don't need to do like, you know, you don't need to build a software company. All you got to do is just launch a one-to-one, you know, so you already have that offer. You know what you're going to do. But what's important here is who do we contact? Okay? So you need to go run a re-offer to everyone that's shown interest but hasn't closed. You know? And you need to say, hey, we're coming out with a new program. We're going to be working directly with people. You do not have to come to Bali, and it's not 42K. And they're like, okay, cool, awesome. I want to hear more. You know, I would nearly say that in the messaging, and then someone's like, okay, if they know the price, obviously. They're like, fantastic, great. Do you want to get on a call? Let's walk back through it. Has anything changed? What are you working on next? Do you want to can I walk you through our new program? Because people love things that are new and novel, and it's a one-to-one program. You're going to get really detailed on it. You're going to start creating your training material, and you're going to be in a good position then.
Yeah, I think so. I complicate it. It's just literally offer a mentorship.
Yeah.
Don't make it offer complicated. Do it for 8 to 12 weeks.
And also,
I sat there and I kind of went, I'm going to make this, and I need a...
No. So your best one-to-one like unlocks is going to become your program down the line. But I'll give an example. So let's just say I ask Andrew to teach me SEO. And then he's teaching me about like the basics of backlinks. But then I keep asking him the same thing. And he's just like, I'm just going to create this Notion doc for you. Here it is. It's a Notion grid. Here's all the details about the backlinks and stuff. That's done. And he hands it to me. And then the next person that comes in, he hands it to. The next person that comes in, he hands an even better version to. So what I'm saying is your customers are going to drive the product. Your customers will drive things. They're going to say the same shit anyway. And then you're just going to have assets that you're going to be creating bespoke for an individual. Yeah, it's customer-led product building versus like, I believe X, I believe we should do Y. And then it's like, it's non-congruent with what they want.
So it's all running parallel to each other.
Yeah. Yes. And what's important here is you got to know what you stand for and what you don't stand for, right? So I know that you're going to be helping people with like X, Y, Z, but like you don't want to deviate too far from that core competency. Does that make sense? So when you're working one-to-one, it's important to have a bit of a boundary as to what's outside of the core competency. Okay? So let me just give an example. So let's say we're working with you to overcome the complex PTSD. And I just said like, do you know how to do some cold water therapy? And this is outside of your competency, right? And you're like, yeah, I'll figure this out for you. No. You want to know what you say no to and what's outside of your core tenets of what you want to work on. It's really, really important. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, great, there is this thing, but we don't need to do this thing. Does that make sense? It's like, Christian, your example could be like if someone says like, hey, can you coach me for an ultra marathon? And you would scramble and like kind of figure it out with ChatGPT, but it's like, no, like as of right now, that's not a core competency of you. For now, it's CrossFit, High Rocks, bodybuilders, or whatever that may be. It's like, and that's important for one-to-one, so you don't get dragged into different directions. And you give them like a general scope. So here's the scope, here's the map, but here's what you need right now. So just, again, starting from tomorrow, run that offer, hit 50 to 100 people, and then have the content still hit that main issue that you're solving, and then we're in a good position. Cool. Yeah, any more questions that come up, just let me know as well on that. But again, less is more, right? Like less is more with this stuff, right? Just for now in terms of like what you need to do for next steps. Yeah. Cool. For yourself?
The thought this is brilliant is giving the confidence it needs to have a first one-to-one.
Yeah.
You just want to degree off of that stuff. So I think there's a few things that can tidy up to make that really superfluous. I think you just need the content. go in and just flex it off, you just get more of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have the sales system now in place, which was the first thing we did with you. Now you need to get back to getting this shit out of the way, you know? And I think you need to really lean into like all this objection handling content. So like what is the reasons people don't get started with your mechanism, you know? And you have all the sales calls, and I think a lot of them are recorded too, right? For the most part. Can we keep feeding this back in as much as possible?
I think there was a prompt, put it into a spreadsheet from the schedule 1 to pay for over the last 3 years. Just you would say that I can't believe what people tell you.
Yeah, it was literally the most craziest thing of all time.
So I've ran that through, and then I've got through how can we make this a couple of months long, 4 months slave framework that's making it storytelling, but also solving a big problem.
Yeah.
So I had to play that the last couple of days.
But you're doing that. You just need to, you kind of have the same issue as Imran. You just actually need to hit record. You both know what your problems are for your ICP. You both know how to solve them. You have a shit ton of stories and case studies to show that it works. You're just not hitting record.
No, let's see, I've had record with everything is there, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be novel rather than, but they have mostly doing.
Yeah, that's the best example. No one knows what you offer. You're not doing enough marketing. You're not pushing hard enough. You know, this is where my advice is so different to like all the other coaches. Are like, take it easy. It's like, no. Like, you gotta really hammer the front end because no one cares about you. All right.
So I often say that your teaching piece has to be the vision, their vision. Just a very subtle reminder going, yeah, the fact that you copied the version on this yesterday is fucking irrelevant for a new person that's seen it for the first time, but they need to see the same thing before they actually that's a problem.
Yeah, and an important here is that you can talk about new concepts, like introduction of new concepts, so that they come into here and they see who you are, right? You can introduce, like, part of the awareness is bringing people into the awareness of like doing a new thing, but just so that they can come back and see who you are as well, though.
I think just better putting it more emotionally driven comes back. It's the same thing.
Can I try and make it easier for you with content? So we have these core bits of content like the origin story, which we want to kind of push people towards. One of the easiest ways to make a YouTube video is to think, if you're inspired by a concept, something's come in, you're like, I'd love to talk about this. There's a super simple framework you can follow, and this is what preachers follow. They do this for the Bible. So you have a concept that you want to introduce, and you start the video with, right, what is a problem that is affecting you right now? Okay, how is that problem affecting people around you or your external world? Then, what is my new concept? Okay, introduce the concept, that's the teaching element. If you applied this concept, how would it affect you personally? How would it affect those around you / external world? And then basically, once you get into that format, that structure, you can just riff on anything. The concept comes in, problem, it's affecting personally. External world, people around them. New concept, here it is, results. So it's just A, B, teaching in the middle. And you can literally just do that with anything and get in the flow. And then the important part there is within the video, it's like, hey, if you want to kind of like go into this deeper, you want to understand like why I'm doing X, Y, and Z and why this is important for you, go ahead, watch this video here, do a deep dive. And this is your more scripted video that's going to kind of hit certain beats. So the other one is just, it's like, right, concept, follow that framework and just get videos out.
Yeah, I call it the not getting hit by a bus test. You're just going to remind your customers you haven't got hit by a bus yet. Just keep showing up. He's still relevant, you know? Relevancy is super important with marketing.
And that's the thing that teaches. It's kind of going to go away.
Yeah.
It's deeply genetic.
Okay, so why are you not where you're at? Is because of the front end. Like, quite literally, if the problem hasn't changed or the problem's not dissolving, you know, it's something that's going away. And if the market is always struggling, which it is, you know, it's kind of like the reason why we're going after sales is because it'll always be timeless. It's like, that's a very good problem to solve for. Then why are you not getting customers? It's the same reason why we're not getting customers. We're not marketing hard enough, right? Now we're a different stage of the business. But I mean, you can always, a big thing I haven't chatted about is like, about the lead sales and delivery side, is like the volume of leads you need to have the right calls you need, to have the right delivery you need. You just need way more volume. And even if you have too much volume, like Yannick had, you put on a wait list. But like you can never not have enough volume of leads, you know? And it's funny because like a lot of the coaches, like, they don't think about this, they don't know about this, right? It's like you need way more than you need just because you have margin of error and because you're gonna screw up a shit ton of stuff in the funnel, you need way more than you ever think you need. And that's why the numbers are so scary and why people stay out of them. You know, I give an example. If you wanted to run a sub 1 hour high rocks, you don't even know how much training you'd need to do that. You don't know. But if you did know, probably scare you. And you'd probably either do it or not do it. So that's why I'm saying like the volume you need is so much more. So whether you do it organic or you do it paid, my recommendation to you, because you struggle with the content, is we start running those $10 to $20 a day ads until we start getting the setter cooking, and then we ramp the ads. I'm spending $350 a day right now. I haven't put up content in 2 days.
Another thing that came up for me as well, two things again, a couple of people talking about currency and which to charge, and how I think Mark had said that pounds can be quite awkward for people.
Oh, that was Will, I think. Yeah.
You know,
Oh, but Will also said it too. Yeah.
So should that shift it to USD
Instead of pound.
instead of pound?
It depends who the person is, right? If it's someone in the UK, they obviously it's a familiarity. What Matt said, like people buy things that are familiar. So if it's a UK person, it's UK currency, yeah. You know, but again, right? That's like getting into the gym and saying what type of BCA should I buy? It's like just go to the gym and eat chicken. And you're just gonna make the progress, right? Focus on the big problem, solve that big problem, which is the content. The BCAs don't matter. You know.
The real authentic problem for them is just cash.
Yeah, but what I mean is like your customers will just they'll pay you in fucking coupons if they need to, right? You know what I mean?
One of the things that I want to say is, should I be offering one-to-ones again? I've not done that for years, and there's like no reason as to why I haven't been doing that other than group has been 6-7 years.
But hold on, but you have a back-end offer which is closer proximity. You have the 4K one in it. Well, this is the thing, is that someone comes in and then we fix it, we solve the problem. We know that we have pain, problem, process, and then the question is, Mark, how fast do you want to go? How close do you want to be to me? I want to go really fast and I want to be close to you. Okay, fantastic. We have a one-to-one option here. That's like 7 or 8K. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, well, if you want to just get moving, we can get started with the 4K one. You know?
Yeah, but I want to try one of these people because I'm one of the times kickers, mate. I've paid my dues for that for the last 10 years. I don't want you like.
What's the problem we're trying to solve though? The problem we're trying to solve isn't that people don't want group. Or do they not want, what's the objection there?
No, I'm saying, like, as a marketing concept, attracting low financially competent people. I like the working with people that are better at limiting.
Will you do that back here in the content, man? So you better bring in better quality leads because the attraction mechanism of your content is attracting the right people. The ads are cooking or whatnot. And then when they're coming in, then it's just like, hey, do you want to be close in one-to-one or do you want to be in group? And then they dictate when we go to the multi-funnel. And then when they come through here, we see how much they're willing to invest because it's personal development. And then we see, okay, based on your criteria, this is the trusted advisor. I advise you to go in here. That happens all the time, man. People are like, I want to do group. I'm like, you're not. They say they want to do one-to-one. I'm like, you're not ready for it. And you also don't need it. Like, you don't need it, you know? Or the typical one we get is like, I want you to do it for me. And if they're not making at least 3 million a year, we won't do their content. So it's like, you just don't qualify. But we do have a better option for you.
So it's just been this like cat and mouse game I've played for so long, so we're trying to change the content to speak to more like entrepreneurial people that can afford it. Because usually, I've wrote a good post about it, created it.
Yeah.
You can't biohack your trauma, you can't chat GPT your trauma, but male entrepreneurs kind of want to like a shortcut.
Yeah.
And that fucks me off because I go deep with people that are not going to get the result that way, so this is where the half truths need to come in. So I've been back and forward every time to try to create content for these people. They're not ready to go to the depths that's needed in my program to heal the things we see.
But what I mean is like, because you're not getting the volume of leads, you're not finding the people that want to go deep. So there are people that want to go deep, but you're not hitting them because you don't have the volume of leads. So it's a lead flow issue. So if you can get more leads in the front end, yeah, you'll find some guys who are like want to stand off it, but you'll have some guys that want to jump in, just because of the theory of volume. Right? You're gonna have a lot of volume, and then you self-select where they go. It's Sarah's issue, right? Like some people.
Content, should I be creating more content specifically to these people.
Really?
No, you solve the problem. You solve the problem, and you work with people who are entrepreneurs and high performers or people in their career. Okay, and you're solving the problem of the issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
attracting to people.
Go ahead, man.
I'm attracting a lot of things.
I think with the content as well, like on Instagram, one thing like, have you ever gone deep on the Instagram thing? Like as you scroll through, like have you ever gone deep on threads? Or is it more just a dopamine induced thing that you're scrolling through? It's like you capture it with like 30 seconds. Yeah, say yourself like your clients, but last night we were sitting out there, we went deep in the conversation. So like most people like they need the deep stuff, but the 30 seconds that they're in this nervous state, they're strong through, they're not in that state to do that. So you want to give them a thing that's like the chocolate over here, and you give them the chocolate later. So your tofu stuff should be the stuff that they think that they're making, even though you know that's not actually the stuff. So you kind of like communicate these things to actually feel. And then you bring it into the whole quality itself, which can't guarantee anything.
Yeah. But you're caught too much in the minutia. You know? You got to solve the problem at a high level, and then you'll find the right people, and then we can dial up the content. But even like, as at least as my content now, we still have super top of funnel stuff, and then we have middle of funnel stuff. And then you find we're trying to find the right leads. You know? And that's even when we go into the ad tracking stuff, we're looking for qualified followers right now. Cool.
Again, as I say, it's not lost on me. I'm attracting a lot of middle-aged women who want to like vent to me because
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
You know the plan though?
Sorry.
You know the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the setters, they're being trained by us anyway, so that's fine. But you need to give them leads. So you just have a lead flow issue, which is actually not that much of an issue. We can solve that.
Yeah.
Cool, let's keep going backwards. Christian?
Yeah, so for me, I think the biggest thing that really just from the whole weekend and coming into this to be able to go through is just really being super specific of what the problem actually is. Because sometimes I think I'm talking about the problem and I'm not talking about the problem. I'm talking about something that's like disconnected or something going on. So actually just making sure that I'm getting back to the roots of it. What it is, like if I'm getting hold of like the performance and I'm getting to become a higher performer, I need to be attacking where that's actually happening in real life. Like the stuff that I do, but then actually go back to the root cause of that as well. Just talking outside, saying sometimes like the reason why people are fucking going on holiday and feeling all the crumbs and down isn't just because they have a business problem, it's because they're a busy fool, because they're not actually productive, because they're not actually effective. Actually tackling the stuff that they do to do.
So tackling the symptom and also the outcome. So low performance in the gym, in business, with a relationship, bad energy. It's not okay to come back and watch TV all day. You know, just like that's a symptom and the root cause then of it. But I think a big thing that you need to lean into too is you as the entrepreneur. Like you run for like 2.5 hours a day on a treadmill, then you get back and you work for 10 hours a day. It's like, that's abnormal. I want to see more of that. And I don't just want to see it, I want to see how you manage it. And then I want to see, even if I never want to do that in my life, how could I take 1 inch of that as the aspirational identity? You know, so you have to really lean into that, man. I think you're similar enough to Mark because you're just Scottish and you just really like elaborate on points, you just ramble on points, bring it way back. What's the problem you're trying to solve? What's the root cause of that? What's the impact? Okay? Then someone's going to be like, Jesus fucking Christ, okay, I'm super overweight, I need to fix this issue. Or I want to get more out of my career or get more out of stuff. And then you as an aspirational identity also is leading from the front. And that's a big, that's the two things.
Yeah, the origin story was a big one, but even actually the client story, as you said, like what we're doing, it's like we need to live quite a normal life.
Yep.
Like compared to most people, and it's like people look into that and then they actually listen to great dinner goes down, different ideas for YouTube headings, and I've traveled to 9 countries, 14-hour days, and training 2.5 hours a day in a year, and still got a business, still got clients.
Yeah. The important thing for you though, especially you're going after a higher value, but like a higher net worth individual, is you want to position yourself not as an influencer, but as an entrepreneur. You know, someone who really knows their shit. You just happen to live like this very like high octane life. You know what I mean? Which is awesome. You know, but you need to do that in a very elegant way. It's like, I'm not just here in Bali, I'm actually fucking grinding it out all the time. Myself and my fiance have a great life, we have a good marriage, good relationship. That needs to feed into your content too, right? Because it's all those like sub-benefits that they get from working with you. Sounds good? What about the sales side?
Sales is just making sure that like I'm going through that part. But a couple of people come on the call recently that was not qualified, and I'm just making sure that like I can't remember about through the scale thing, the 1 to 6.
Matt.
But like I've been doing a similar thing where it was like I was rating someone like a 1 to 10, where they are on the scale, just not letting them get on a call for any less than 6. Like where are they? How warm are they? Like what's their conversation like? Because again, it goes back to that point. If they're slightly down and they come on and they believe that's not just fitness, and then they're not at that point ready to invest, they're just going to get the money and they're going to be like, no. Like there's a guy though that had one that was actually shocked. I was like, what did you think? It was going to use like £100 a month. I was like, it's not selling.
But you got to go the whole way back there, right? Like, is that an issue with the marketing? Are you coming across? Okay. Yeah, just look at each individual isolated objection and go back upstream, right? How did he get on a call? He shouldn't have got on a call if he thinks it's $100. But did he know that the investment was 4 figures? And did he know that he was? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he said he thought that was. Yeah. He said he thought that was for a year. You still wouldn't have added up for a year.
Yeah, it's $200 a month. Okay, cool. And then the other thing then is just getting another setter, and just like not giving up on a sales team. I know you're not, but it's like you have to always be thinking in terms of like you do need setters and you do need closers eventually down the line. If you guys want to run an ultra marathon, you can't be the one in the DMs when you're on the fucking path, right? So you need to get that cooking, and like the kind of more self-leadership you need to take with these guys, you know? And like Andrew's like 3 or 4 months ahead of you with the sales team, and his is fine. You know what I mean? And there's going to be issues. This is part of it. Cool. Ilya, from your perspective?
Too much on like think about like macro and pain and put that forward in my content, but it's probably a lot higher level than actually what
100%. Yeah. So, you know, Hormozy doesn't tell you what it's like to invest in 50 different companies all at once. He teaches you how to create a lead magnet, you know? And it's like whenever I always meet you in the gym and I always introduce you to my friends and everything, and I'm always like, oh, like Ilya's running like a 3-hour marathon. And then even when I first found your story through your anorexia video, that's how I remember your story. I don't know that you get up and fucking get electrolytes in the morning, like, you know what I mean? It's irrelevant. But I would recommend you to one of my friends who wants to get into running because of your story and because you're a killer when it comes to actual training. So that's what you need to be portraying. Not like the mechanism is fucking irrelevant, right? They're gonna see your values and so on. So I think you need to be telling that story more because obviously other women that are in a position that you were in. You don't need to get caught in the minutia of how to get into a sub 3-hour marathon, even though that's cool. And that's what kind of Nick Bear would do, is like, he's like, I'm doing this thing. But that's cool, but no one can relate to that. They want to go all the way back down into that. That's why we stopped talking about numbers. I just stopped talking about it. I didn't really like doing it anyway. But it was like I just stopped talking about numbers and revenue numbers in content. Sometimes I still do it some bits. But it's just like not relevant, you know, to anyone. Sometimes it's just not really relevant, you know. So you got to think about that prospect's actual issue. And yeah, do you still talk about your story a lot, your content? Yeah. And the kind of... Yeah. 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 Can I give an example? So I don't know the full story and full details, but if I was like in your position, it would be like me and my fiance were like building this business right now, and in 3 years ago I was in the hospital, right? Or I just finished a 3-hour marathon, and 2 years ago I was still like having this like issue with anorexia or whatever. So it's dream outcome or goal, and then it swaps into the social proof as to who you are. And like you don't need to be like, and now I have 57 different clients. It's just you. And I see that contrast, I'm like, fuck. Because I know intuitively you've gone through so much shit to be able to get to the point that you're at beyond the tracking of the metrics of the macros. There's all this other stuff, and that's inferred. People like it's inferred, right? I don't need to say like, what did you do? I just get it. So that sub-line, it's really good in copywriting too, dream outcome into social proof. And you can say that in videos, you don't need to write it. And you like writing too, so.
Usually the marketing is like, you're going to be planning before you marketing for your advertising.
Yeah.
So when you're rewriting that same book in that same angle, that same post for the 6th time, and you're reposting like that's the same thing again, that's the first time someone should see that. And also like usually in our mindset, we're forward.
Yeah.
I find my marketing actually like when it's like I say the same thing, I'm sure that the marketing is changing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, it's the same thing. That's like the brand reinforcement.
And so, yeah. 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 So the big thing there is just even your customers, your best customer, they probably found you through your story-led content. Now, due to the ecosystem, they may ascend, but you don't want to be creating customer content just for your customer that's been there for the past 6 months. It's for new people to come in. So do the activity that got your dream customer in the first place, which was you showing up, telling the story really well. Does that make sense? People kind of forget what got them there, and it's not like necessarily cold outreach. It was like the underlying principle of like you just being like a thoughtful person for your clients right now who's overcome a ton of really tough stuff and reiterating that point. Sounds good? And that's your story, Andrew, is like whenever I was speaking to Liz about you last night when you went home, and I was telling Liz about your story, and Liz was like, oh, I didn't know about his story. And I was like, yeah, because he doesn't fucking share it. You know? But when you do share it, weren't they all your top performing posts? You know? And like that's the first step when people come into your world, whether you put it in an email sequence before when someone books you a call, or an origin story video, because our origin story used to be in the email sequence, it's not anymore. But does that make sense? It's like, how do we use our story as a sales asset and reinforce that point? Cool. Any questions on that? And from last night, you mentioned about the info. Any more thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually make
What's the reason why you don't want to do it?
I just don't want to teach it.
But you don't need to teach. Like, okay, well, you obviously need to teach, but I mean, you don't need a huge program, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think I just be better at one-on-ones, so I think I'm just going to sell that.
Okay. But again, why are you not good at teaching? That's such a limiting belief. Why are you not good at teaching? You haven't. Why don't you like it?
I prefer doing delivery. Like I prefer actually doing something instead of like explaining something to someone else.
But that's not true because you don't even do delivery anymore with Max.
That's true.
So you just made that up. It's not true, you know what I mean? But like you're telling yourself shit that's just not real. Like, you know, it's just not real. And it's okay, I do that too. But like that's just not true. Because you have a COO, you know? And then even like the sales stuff, like you don't even do the setting. Your girlfriend does the setting for you and stuff. So you do a lot of teaching and leadership and educating, but you just don't feel confident because your competency is still warming up. Like you're still getting competent, you know? But what I mean is like when you sell a client for 5K to teach them SEO and it's the most basic shit ever, they're just going to be able to, it's just going to be so basic to you. It's a curse of granted knowledge. It's just so easy to you. You don't realize that it's worth so much to a real estate agent who wants to buy your agency offer, but he's just not there yet. But if you teach him, you will liberate him, and people that are liberated by you then will be like, oh, referrals and so on. So it's going to create a stronger flywheel in the business, and you can do it because you already have the material, and even your ops stuff, you know, the ClickUp nerdy stuff you have, you can just kind of sell that initially with the one-to-one, start the journey, and then with the starting the journey, that will then feed into it. That's basically your scenario, right? It's like you already have the material, or you have it in here. You know how you would help them. Your most basic content is worth so much to them, and they'll pay for it. So is it this, are you going to do it, or are you not going to do it?
Yeah, I'll probably just next time I get an objection on the price, after kind of eating it, and then like that.
Yeah, but I think we need to make an offer for it though, because you have the real estate agent bros, which you still want to book, and ideally you'd put them onto a closer, and let him take the B and C leads, and the closer then will just take 5 calls a week or 10 calls a week, and then just sell a 3K offer. Pay him 10%. That's it. But you see why this is a business then? Do you get me?
Because I just feel like there's leads that are showing for there's probably like 700 leads there that will buy the agency offer.
Yeah. So before we started the incubator, that was the issue. We had like 700 people, and then we ran an email saying, hey, now you can finally afford our service. And we had 42 people buy it in a week. You know? Because they were just like, they were like, 1, we don't want to give ownership in an agency, and 2, I want to learn, and 3, it's cheaper. You know, so there's all these little subtleties, which is your exact scenario. That's why when I looked at yours, I was like, I can do this straight away. You know, it's just a thing that I can just do straight away. It's just based on the things that are actually true, which is like the price is too high, the commitment's too high, flying the Bali and stuff. Those things are actually true. They're not objections, you know. Like $42,000 is a lot of money, you know, for a lot. For the right client, but I'm saying when you're getting people coming into the ecosystem, you effectively want to be able to serve everyone on a long enough time horizon, you know? Serve everyone in a high ticket fashion, right? Not just like a $10 kind of thing, you know? Cool. Any more for you, sorry? Yeah. If you bring in a B closer, it's going to be better than you closing, man. It's just draining you down too much taking the sales calls, you know? Yeah.
Andrew, when I go on a call with you when we're on Darren's calls, I don't know if you know how amazing you are. Because I have absolutely no idea what you do, and I've sat through the coaching calls, I still have no fucking idea what you do, because it's so nerdy, but it makes me love it.
Yeah.
And so if you told your story and you shared it that way, I would then have the connection to be able to go, actually, I want that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But I want the connection first.
Yeah. And you need to speak to Yannick, because Yannick's content is really good. He's really good at story-like content. You have to, all your videos should be like, I'm 19 years old and I'm doing this. You know? I've built this at 19, you know? You know? 20. Okay. It's the same fucking thing, right? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But you need to be saying that, right? Because there's kind of like this inflection in the guru space. There's a bit of an inflection. Like people want to take a chance on like a young guy because they see small resemblance of them when they're younger, either the gap when they were a kid or maybe when they were like a kid, you know?
Or it reminds them of Betty.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And it comes back to relationships as well. Like there's SEO, something about a search thing, right? That's literally what I do. I have no idea about it. I don't use it. I don't use use it. And maybe we use it. I have no idea if we use it. My brother is one of the biggest real estate agents in Australia. His son is one of the biggest real estate agents in Australia. We know them, and if I followed you because I liked you,
Exactly.
I don't need to care about your SEO, but I like you. So then when they say something about SEO, I'm like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
And they're both young guys, so they're like.
And also the thing is like because you're likable like that, they'll just introduce you and they'll be like, this guy will just do something for me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Because and then this is the moat that you have, or anyone who's a small business owner is like, you're not a big person that's gonna fuck you over to some random CEO like operations guy. It's like you're gonna be in the detail and you're gonna be directly responsible. Does that make sense? Like there's a lot of advantage to that.
Every time I get myself up there, how do guys follow me back? What do you do again? Okay, I'll buy. I'm starting to get that as well. They don't necessarily know what I do, but they're what I am. And all
Yeah. And then longer term horizon is like you're going to help people with marketing. You know, you're going to step out of SEO every once in a while because you're doing ads. You're doing ads for people, doing SEO for people. So you will kind of go into kind of how we swap from podcasting to content. That will be, and then overall just the business growth. Does that make sense? But like that's a journey that you'll go on that you need to be documenting all the time. You know, so your edge is the fact that you're still 16. Awesome. Just make it all up. Run the offer, make it up. How are we doing for time?
It's cool past 12.
Oh yeah, dinner's going to be, our lunch is a little bit delayed because of the gas or some shit. So we'll run for 30 minutes and then we'll take a break. Ben?
Yeah, so the two problems I had when I came in, I believe, are the pricing of the services and also the delivery. So a lot of the leads around the pricing kind of like been shattered. Like speaking on what you're doing pretty good. And I'm happy that we pitched the new price last time. I will go below that. So I think that's good. And now I'd say my main problem is just I need to hire someone quite quickly. I'd say to help with the delivery.
You hired the EAs from us, right?
Yeah, and that's good, but I have like 2 more calls this week and they're both referrals. I think they're going to close too, so
Okay.
like that, I'm really happy with the role this year. So
Yeah, well then
I need to bring in a scriptwriter and a copywriter.
yeah, like a freelance copywriter. Awesome. Yeah, I could set you up with my mate Cardinal Mason. He has a copywriting program. So these guys are going to be like learning copywriting and they're going to be pretty good. And it could be like, you know, a student from 2 years ago and you just paid them like $1,500 or some shit. Because then you'll be up to that 15, 20K a month, right? And because if you bring in these new clients, that'll bring you up to 15, 20, 25K a month.
Well, if my close on Monday, it'll be 35K.
Fuck yeah. And then we just bro scale it to 100. That's when you just put in a setter and you just hammer it. You know, you just like hammer the front end. Because all the validation's there at that point. You know, you just need a setter, you just need more calls, get a shit ton of calls, take 20 calls, then sub you out with a closer.
I know I'm like maxing out right now, but it's not a free
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, like, you know, everything is kind of scary. Like, your business is declining is scary too. It's good that it's scary, but you're making money, right? And you'll always figure out a delivery issue. Because you know the delivery, you'll figure it out. You know, but you don't want to be on the other end of the spectrum. You're not making money, and then you're going like, oh my fucking God, I'm going to kill myself. Which is just equal level of scariness.
And you think that my plan is to like slowly handle some of the scripts, so maybe like 20-30% first.
So your best clients that are BAU right now, start giving them those as tests. You know, like some of our best clients, we don't even speak to anymore. They give us our content, we edit the content and everything, you know. So then we actually give them our new editors. Our new editors will go on there, and then our top editors then will usually actually work on my content as some of the kind of newer clients. You know, the best impression at the beginning, but then when someone's up and running, we give the new editors the best clients' work. Does that make sense? So you'll know. Also, does anyone know how to profile their clients? Ooh, this is interesting. This is a real like agency thing. So if you imagine like an axis, I could draw it, but you have to be able to profile your clients based on their personality type. So where they currently are. So I don't know the exact, I kind of forget a small bit, but like let's say like ego and like insecurity. So like insecurity is here. So someone who's like high ego, high insecure, you gotta be very careful with that delivery, you know? Just be very, very careful. If someone who's like not really insecure, but they kind of a high ego, it could be down here. And then if they're like low ego, high insecure, you got to be careful about how you manage them, like the personality types. And then it's about who's best to serve them, right? So for instance, like if someone is high ego, I generally won't interact with because they'll say something, I'll teach them something and they'll fight back and I'll fucking fight back. So basically Tom will come into here. This was actually the genesis of me and Tom started working together. We had a lot of clients that were super high ego that I couldn't do the client success on. So I stepped out of it and then Tom sat in here. Because anyone can manage a client that's chill. You know? But it's like that real, especially in services, it's different. Services is just different in coaching. So that's where Tom kind of stepped in here about how to manage expectations and manage emotions and everything. So you do that with delivery too, who's draining the company's resources, e.g. energy. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's a really, really interesting arc. It's a wheel, basically. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just understanding where clients fall. And then you coach them, you bring them back down the center and everything. Awesome. Anything you want to add on to that actually, Tom? Because that's like our entire business, basically, is like how we rotate where people are in their life cycle. Cool. Imran? Mm.
I think it's like this, I always get services so much, and I put this in here, I know there's a mutual solution, that's what I'm doing, I've like pretty validated in the last few months.
Yeah.
To scale more businesses, if you might tech, or...
What's your goal?
It's my goal, like sales 10K months, like active 100K months, like servicing 6 months on capacity.
But you probably could, right? Like,
I could.
but you could probably charge 20K a month now. But what I mean is like, you could probably charge 20K a month now.
Well, that's the thing, I can raise prices, but again, to get that, it's a very selective spot page.
But you don't want to work with broke people.
Yeah, exactly.
And you want to work with long-term people.
I think the biggest thing for me is like most of my success just comes through work. Like once I talk to people face to face, once I see business that actually like can value for me, it's like I don't want to be on something all, hey, here's your website.
No. Yeah, but you want to get out of the referral trap by having your own client acquisition strategy.
So like this,
Yeah.
I need to start doing.
Yeah. I think what I was speaking to, I don't know who I was speaking to last night about this, but I think what we need to work out together is about how we can get you to make consistent content. And we talked about this last night. That like,
The thing is like, the origin story is weird because like, yeah, like for some people origin stories resonate. It's from a coaching perspective. Like how does my origin story resonate? And like, I just start to
because Wire is a beast at this shit. That's it. You know? Yeah. Because there's lots of guys making mobile development apps, you know? But it's like Wire just an animal when it comes to just development and everything, you know? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Just like I was in Shopify, just shoe glass for 10 years and we built this huge company. You don't need to go into the minutiae details, but it's like, yeah, I just survived this decade of engineering that most people never do. And now I scaled like 50K a month, like literally like 2 months. So how long has it been? 3 months. 0 to 50K. Dude, that's wild. But that's part of it, right? And like because you're an animal, that's how that works. And then people are attracted to that and they're like, holy shit. You know? Yeah, it just, you know, but like selfishly, it's probably good that you get some huge fucking crazy wins, results. And then it's like, this makes sense then to sell info on it. You know? But yeah, so I think like you can get to 100K a month as you're doing. You might need to bring in your missus, right? It's just, yeah. Yeah, so she has to quit her job. So basically, this long story short is, I made him build an AI agency and get him to quit his job and he's getting him to move here. And he's like, yeah. And I'm going to get you addicted to nicotine in the process. So it goes full circle. So, but to get basically to develop longer. Never mind. Yeah, so then he can develop longer. It's a joke. Long story short is, if you get this up and running, I think there's like this period of time though whereby you just need to keep getting results, right? Which is like you are good at what you need to do, but ultimately people give a shit about results. You scale this company to XYZ, even the Gymshark thing that you're working with and so on. And then I think we just need to sit down and work out how we could probably produce your content because this is just too much of in your head. Yeah. So what I'm suggesting is like we probably release 2 or 3 videos for you a month, and then when you leave Brex, you start putting it on LinkedIn too, and that's it. And they're just there as like staples because like there will come a point very quickly where people are like, okay, but like, you know, I got a referral, but like, can you actually do what I need help with? So if you're breaking down these like super detailed like videos on Instagram, like a Greg Eisenberg stuff, I don't even know that dude, but he runs like a chop shop, right? An AI chop shop. So basically, you see content, great, and then you see his videos, and there's some development team in the back. Does he do development? No. Now I know that that's your wheelhouse, but you still do need, yeah. Because the thing is, this is like it's going well right now, but like for whatever reason, it didn't go well. You lost a few clients, and then it's like, who do we lean back into? You have a CRM, you have some people that show an interest, didn't close, in that kind of way. Yeah, so you just got to think downside.
With the origin story as well, if you're B2C or it's more personal transformation like Yannick, then it's your origin story, your transformation. And then, so the whole purpose of the origin story is for people to understand why you're solving a certain problem. So your origin story is the origin of the problem. And that's B2B. It's like, why am I solving this problem?
That's where I got it wrong. Like, part of my first one is more like, this is just like my origin story for my app.
Yeah.
It didn't resonate like how I'm actually. And also just publish it, so it's like not useful.
Yeah. So the goal of that bit of content, so when people buy, they first say like yes in their head and their heart. So it's an emotional buy-in and a logical buy-in. So the two bits of content we want is the origin story, that's the why, the emotional buy-in. And then we have like the trainings, the tactical training, the more VSL, that's the how. So we're ticking off before they get on the sales call. Why does this person do what they do? How do they do it? Origin story, tactical training. So you can think of the origin story as just communicating the why.
And then respectfully, you need to kind of take your own medicine, which is like, you need to ship this off, bro. You know? And it needs to be shit, you know? Like literally, we get on a... Yeah, but on Instagram and so on. But you can do like live breakdowns and stuff, you know? Here's what I'm truly passionate about, which is true. Like here's like AI nerdy stuff. And then it's just shipping those videos and then being like a proof of concept. And then just, okay, this is great, you know? Like the way that we iterate is the way that you need to iterate on stuff continuously. You need to be just throwing shit out there. Cool. Yannick?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I started this business to help those guys, right? But I didn't realize by asking too little to help them less, right? So I think I just need to up my prices. So what I'm planning to do is to make the main offer 5K, but more like help from my side, like one-on-one, especially the onboarding. And then the people who cannot pay that because they're not in that situation yet, they just get on the downsell, which is 2K.
Yeah.
So basically the downsell will become the price, what is the main offer.
And you can always split that, man. You know, worst case scenario, if they want to do like a two-way split or whatever, you can do that if you needed to, right? If you need to do that. And then with the other one, you give them the red carpet. You give them a one-to-one in the beginning, which is actually an onboarding call, and then a one-to-one halfway through their journey. That's it.
I can give so much more energy because they pay me more. So I will help them even more. That's what I realized.
Yeah. And you'll be more committed. You won't be resentful. I know that you're not, but resentment is actually a subconscious effect. You're going to just grow resentment if you're doing this fulfillment for 2K. You're going to wake up excited. It's a number to get you out of bed, basically.
I think the main thing as well is I still have my agency, so I don't have to do it for the money because it's just coming in, it's all automated. So I can literally put all my time on this. So I was like, oh, I want to over-deliver. Don't want to give them the feeling that they pay too much, if that makes sense.
But they only pay too much if the value isn't given.
Exactly. So that's like the big issue.
Yeah.
Asking more so I can actually help the rider.
But it will, taking on more money, as in like making more money, will make everyone stand up straighter. Your clients will do the work because they've paid. You will. Yeah. Like even like, we'll give an example. So me and Imran started working together. We were doing this fucking shitty VSL builder thing. And because we were kind of prototyping it, I was like all over the place, you know? And then we started doing Aura. I was like, okay, now I got to pay for the fucking thing. And I was like, let's get this working, bro, you know? And it's like, let's go. And like, that's just a natural human reaction, right?
First of all, sales be more involved. You also be more involved. And actually, it's like working with, even when I work at contract level, when I'm working with higher premium clients, even if it's like almost the same thing, it's better quality and the experience is better, the information is better, everything quality is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So you can always give one away for free a year.
What do you?
Yeah, like if you really want that deep like, what do you call it? Like a charity. Like if you want the charity effect, just give one away every year. Make them do it like
A challenge.
as a challenge. Run it like
Almost like they submit their origin story.
Yeah.
and you decide which one.
Yeah. That was the idea with the revenue challenge we did. The winner got to come to the master.